Okay, good evening. I'm back here for MSTY. And we have better news on MSTY because we won our weeklies. They're never perfect because they rolled a little tight on how far out they rolled. Okay, let's go over what happened on the weeklies. And all they did, by the way, was roll their weeklies. No other synthetics, no other positions. They didn't add any shares. So on the 885, they had sold those, and that's the bulk. They had already closed this one out earlier for a slight loss that happened on 521. So on 524, they came back up here and they got rid of the 885 as they were expiring, bought them back for 9 cents. 9 cents and a little change on the 9 cents. So basically, we captured 2,287,000 out of the 2,296,000 they've given us already. So that's positive, right? And then they rolled. They had already on the day before bought a 531 at 1740. So when they did this new one, they were only, now they did it in some fairness to them in the middle of the trading day, right? Because they weren't in a rush to buy that back. If anything, I could fault them. I would have said, well, wait till the end because you know they're at 1680. They're nowhere near 1830, right? Up here on these. So you could have bought back for a penny or two, and that reflected more of what it ended at. So you could have then written a higher one. So by taking it more in the middle or earlier in the day, that, and the reason I can tell that is I'll show you when we look at the holdings, you can see that what they wrote them for and what it ended up was, it ended up a lot higher. So that means they did it at a lower time. Well, typically if you look at the chart of MSTR, which I'll just show you guys. So that's how I know all these things and study it, right? Because it tells me a lot about their execution. And you can't fault everything, but let me show you a little bit of what I'm seeing. So the other argument I was saying on Coney, well, don't wait till the end of the day because on Coney, they had this, well, actually just, well, you guys don't care because you're watching this for MSTR, but a lot of you own both. Okay. So the same kind of thing, the early day, you know, this was to close the previous day at the end of the black, 1544. So after market, and when it opened, it was below that, same as pretty much coin. They closed around 5, I have to get the numbers right, 218, and then they opened around 222, right? And that's where they could have bought back that in coin for $3, but as the day went, coin went up to 237. So same kind of thing here. I mean, buying it at 9 cents when you're way out of the money up here, this, all of this area would have been 1 cent. It's not the 1 cent I'm complaining about. It's when you write the 1740 down here, it seems like it's further away. And I know that it was down here because they paid 9 cents, which is early in the day for something that's really worthless. Okay, so you buy it around this range, okay, and then you sell the 1740. Look at where you are at 1567. Well, by the time you get up here, you could have chose another 1800 or gotten a lot more money for writing that only 4 days out. And let me show you what I mean by that. So I don't expect you guys to understand this, all of you, certainly, but it gives me a chance to educate the dynamics of this stuff, right? So let's go over here to holdings. So they wrote these 885s and they collected 2.603 million, right? Well, look what they were worth at the end of the day. Because go to the end of the day when you're buying your 1830 back, there was little to no chance it was going to get to 1830, right? So to show you that, even with all that running up, it got to 1684. So they got $29. But what's the closing price? Well, the closing price is now 51,375. Well, it's not 1720, but do you see how they could have captured that much money? Now, what would have happened? They would have chosen 18 or 1830 and given us a lot more room. So I hope my training is teaching you guys the dynamics if you ever start to trade options and how you can assess this stuff. And it was the same kind of thing. They were low, so the odds were 75% that Mr. was going to run up. The only reason I find any fault in this is it makes me a little bit nervous, okay, that we're only 2.09 on the bulk, right? So if we run up for the first time, we could run by that. Well, that's good for our synthetic. It's not good for our weeklies, right? So we're almost double, right? For getting 2.6, 2.9, right? We got 2.6. Look at this. We're at 99.23%, almost 100% of what it would cost us to buy back of what we sold it for. So it's almost the double number, right? Now, as long as in those 4 days we don't go past 1720, which is the real number that matters, this is only 10, we're fine. We'll capture all that, right? But I would have loved to have seen it up at 1800 and still got the 20-something dollars that we sold it for if they would have just waited, right? Coney, they should have bought it right away. Coin, there was Mr., there was every reason to wait till the end of the day, okay? Or at least a couple hours out. The 9 cents versus 1 cent is minuscule, but writing the next week out really matters. Okay, enough of my rant on that. Let's get into what all happened. No new shares were really bought. If you go over here and look, we sold the new one for 2.6 million, and you see that pretty much in the accounting numbers. We look at holdings now. We went from 1.7 to 14 million, right? We were at 10 million when we were higher. We dropped back, and this is all on our 1540 since this has been consistent. We got as high as 11, dropped to 10, went down to 1.7 million profit, paper profit, but real if we take it, and now we're at 14 million. So that's bigger than what we're being hurt down here by, right? So I'm reasonably happy. If we run to 1720 and don't go above it, then this is going to be even bigger, right? This will be 1718. So let's go over and look at, we looked at weeklies. I updated these numbers, okay. And on the chart, you know, we're not even coming back. It doesn't look like we're going to come back and test this gap. We'll see. I doubt it, but it's possible. Okay, let's go out and take our first look at payments. Okay, so before this was $4, right? So we got, because we wrote new ones, not because we captured what was already there, but we wrote a new one, right? So at the end of this week, the same thing. We got one more time to write a new one going into 6/5. And they'll count that as money received, and they'll declare on Wednesday, on June 5th. They won't have time to know whether they were successful. So if I had to look at this right now, we're setting on a nice gain over here, right? But we got a loss here. So with some luck, now remember, we had this carry forward. They loaned us a little bit, but we had this big old loss over here, a nice gain here, and they gave us 11 cents, right? But we're carrying forward this part of this loss. So part of me wants to say they're going to give us $2 they're going to give us 40% of this or half of this, right? But that only leaves them right, with about 8 million on the books. So let's see if they do it. I mean, they could shock you and give us $1 or $1.50, but I think they like to keep the yield. So I showed you the yield of what, $2 to 2.35, which is what I think they're going to do right now. Now, if we lose the weeklies, I'll tell you what the fund will do. They'll go over and they'll roll out of 1540 to 1600 or some other kind of number, and they'll grab the money to pay this back and make this even bigger. So even if we run by the weeklies, I think we'll do okay because it's all in the synthetic being positive. So I feel pretty good about this target, guys. So I want to wrap this up so I can get into my weekend. I'll do GDXY and YBIT over the weekend, and I can work on it since it's a 3-day weekend, and I can work on my Discord for you guys. So anything else? Anything on the weekly? Anything else on the payments? Oh, we closed at 34.75, up nicely, right? And here, this is saying fair value is 35.24, so it says we're selling at a discount, and we could well be. So you saw what the synthetics, right, with the 14 million. That's it. So I'll leave you with my latest payout projection with, 10. Well, actually, you go all the way to Tuesday before the markets open, and then it's only 8 trading days, right, or 8 calendar days away from declaration, because we don't do anything until the 28th of May for trading. Okay, guys, Bruce out again. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for fun and entertainment only. Okay, have an awesome, super holiday weekend. All right, bye.